Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is probably the worst in the franchise for me, but by no means does that make it a bad movie because this thing is actually really good. It's really more of a testament to those first three that we got because those movies are pretty tough to beat, and that's also one of my favorite trilogies of all time, and Kingdom holds its own, so let's talk about it. As always, this video will have spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, head over to my shorts, TikTok, or Instagram and check out my one-take movie review on this movie. But without further ado, let's talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So this movie was directed by Wes Ball, and he is the guy who did the Maze Runner trilogy, and those movies are fine. I don't think they're the best in the world, but they're enjoyable movies. And now he's directing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and dipping his toes into this franchise, and it's safe to say he did a pretty good job in my opinion. Now, this movie takes place long after the time of Caesar, and we follow a new ape named Noah, and once Noah's village is attacked and his clan is stolen, he sets out on a journey to go rescue them while also learning a lot about the world that he lives in. Starting things off with the good, and the first thing I have here has to be the visuals in CGI, and I can confidently say this is the best CGI that I have seen in a while. The motion capture that they do for these movies just keeps getting better and better as these things go on. I mean, there were times in this where I just completely forgot that everything I was seeing on screen was all CGI, and you really saw this CGI shine when we got close-up shots on the apes' faces. You saw every detail in their face. They looked incredibly real. It was almost scary how real they looked, and you could just see each and every emotion that they felt and conveyed on screen. So yes, the CGI and just motion capture of these apes was absolutely phenomenal, and as I said before, it just continues to get better with each movie. And also, this world that they created visually was just absolutely stunning to look at. All the big wide shots that we got of this post-apocalyptic Earth just looked absolutely beautiful. Next up for the good, I have the new characters that we got. Now, obviously with this movie taking place after the time of Caesar, we got tons of new characters, and I liked each and every one of them. And my favorite was easily our main character, Noah, because he is going to be a very fun character to explore in future movies. This was essentially his origin story as he went on quite the journey in this film as we saw him slowly become the new leader of his clan. And my favorite part about Noah is that he is still a young ape with a lot to learn, which will mean he's probably going to be an imperfect leader for his clan and maybe make some mistakes along the way. So it'll be fun to see him navigate this new role that he is in. His character also probably had the most character growth out of any character in this movie. I mean, at the beginning of this thing, he was very much sheltered to his own village, didn't know much about the world outside of his village, and wasn't too confident in who he was as an ape. But you fast forward to the end of this movie, he's now the leader of his clan. He has learned a lot more about the world and is more wiser as a character and is more confident in himself and his abilities as a leader, and now kind of has a vision on where he wants apes to be in the future. The other new characters were great, and I'm super excited to explore them in the future as well, but another one of my favorite characters in this movie has to be Raka. He kind of served for the comedic relief of this film, and he definitely had some funny moments in this thing, but more importantly, he was the mentor to Noah as he taught him the ways of Caesar, and I just hate that they had to kill him off about halfway through this movie because I think he could have been for Noah what Maurice was for Caesar. Next up for the good, I have the action. Now, the action in this was great. I thought they expanded and improved upon what they did in the trilogy, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. These action scenes added some intensity to this film, and I also liked how some of these action/fight scenes had their own little stakes within them as well. Some of the fights Noah won and he reaped the benefits of winning that fight, but the ones that he lost, he had to face the consequences for, and sadly that usually resulted in someone dying like his dad or Raka. And that again just added some more intensity to each of these fights because you knew the outcome would affect our characters and the story. They also got pretty creative with some of these sequences as well. I mean, I definitely did not expect to see two apes fighting in water, but man, it was awesome to watch. And I think it was sequences like that that helped elevate this action from the previous three movies. Moving on to the so-so, and the first thing I have here is something I mentioned briefly before, but this movie does have some pacing issues, but it is something that I can totally understand. Now, clearly this movie had to do a lot of world building, and they did a pretty good job at that. But when they did have to do that world building, that's when this movie felt pretty slow for me. In my opinion, this movie got off to a red hot start with Noah's village being attacked and then him setting off on his journey to go find his clan. But before he found his clan, this movie kind of had to stop to not only do some world building, but also introduce us to our human character, May, and explain why she was there and who she was. Now, don't get me wrong, these moments are 100% needed in this film, but I would also be lying to you if I told you that I didn't feel a change of pace and that the movie didn't feel slower during those moments. Next up for the so-so, I have the villain Proximus. Now, I have him here because I felt like his character was really underused in this movie. I mean, he was a super interesting character, but he didn't really show up until the second half of this film. In the time that we did get to spend with him, we got to see his perspective on things, and at the end of the day, he just wanted Apes to prosper, but his means of getting there weren't great. And I just think if we got to spend a little bit more time with him, we would have got to see why he was the way he was and what led him to do things the way he was doing them. Plus, I wish we got a little bit more interaction between him and Noah, because I think that would have made the fight between the two at the end of the movie a little bit more compelling. And also, there is a little part of me that wish they didn't kill him off, because I could see his character slowly becoming a good guy in future movies, and that would truly be a wonderful day. And finally, getting into the bad, and the only thing I have here is that I wasn't too big of a fan of some of the choices that they had May make at the end of the movie. Don't get me wrong, overall I thought she was a good character, but my gripe with it is that she spent this whole movie kind of getting to know Noah and building a relationship with him and some of the other apes, and then at the end of the movie she shows that she was willing to drown / kill Noah and his whole clan just so Proximus wouldn't get what was inside the vault. And then at the end of the movie, she brought a gun when she met up with Noah, and some of these decisions at the end really just made me start to dislike her, because essentially it proved that Proximus was right when he said you can't trust the humans. Now, I get that going this way with her character opens up some new possibilities for future movies, and honestly, it's probably all gonna work out fine. I'll probably review the next movies that come out in this franchise and be like, oh, I love what they did with the character of May. But for this movie specifically, I just feel like having her make those decisions at the very end of this movie really didn't help her character growth at all. She didn't really grow as a character all that much in this movie, and it kind of slowly started to make her the villain in my eyes. But overall, this is a good follow-up to the first three movies. The CGI continues to get better and better, and they expand upon the action and the world that we are in. The new characters are great, and I think this is a good start to hopefully another trilogy. Those are my thoughts on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Be sure to let me know what you thought of the movie down in the comments. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, get your Eazy Apparel at shopeasyapparel.com. God bless, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.